Mark Twain once said, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough. Whiskey, it is a huge category, okay? And it's daunting at first, but we're gonna work through this and you're gonna understand. It's gonna be beautiful. Now, whiskey is made by distilling fermented grains. But what makes it different from vodka is that right after distillation, it is aged in wooden barrels, and that's how it gets its lovely color. But there's an exception here because this is a clear whiskey. They do exist, okay? So this was not aged in a wooden barrel to pull the color out. Just so you know. Now, how do you spell whiskey? Okay? Here's the rule. If your country has an E in the name, then you spell it with an E. For instance, America and Ireland spell whiskey with an E. Except Maker's Mark, which is an American company, they make a bourbon, but they spell it without an E. There's an exception to every rule. Okay, and if your country has no E in the name, like Japan or Canada, then you spell it without an E. All right, that's the broad rule. Look for many exceptions. So let's get into the different types of whiskey. So this right here is Scotch. If you walked into a bar in Europe and said, hey, give me whiskey, because all this is whiskey, they'd most likely give you Scotch, all right? Now, Scotch is distilled from malted barley. And in order to be Scotch, this has to take place in Scotland. And it must be aged for a minimum of 3 years. And Scotch is often accompanied by an aging statement, like telling you how old it is. For instance, if you look at Johnny Walker, I know a lot of you skipped over this. It tells you right down here, aged for 12 years. And obviously, the longer it was aged, the more expensive it was be. The thing with Scotch is aged in a barrel, whereas wine is aged in a bottle. You get a bottle of wine, you stick it in the cupboard, 20 years and it's worth $1 million. Scotch, all that has to take place in the barrel. Some of the popular drinks made with Scotch would be Rob Roy, Rusty Nail, Godfather, Blood and Sand. For the longest time, a lot of bartenders wouldn't try to make cocktails with Scotch. It's tricky. You have to really be skilled to do that. But today's mixologists, they work magic with Scotch. Jameson's is the most popular Irish whiskey in the world. In order to be an Irish whiskey, it has to be made on the island of Ireland. Can't be made in Timbuktu. No offense, Timbuktu. But if you do it the same way, using the same ingredients, you cannot call it an Irish whiskey. Irish whiskeys have to be barreled for a minimum of 3 years. And they gotta be bottled at least 40% alcohol. Okay? Some very popular drinks that use Irish whiskey would be Irish coffee. That's a star. Green tea shots, pickleback shots, Irish whiskey sours, Irish mule, which is a twist on a Moscow mule. You replace the vodka with Irish whiskey, works just as well. Delicious. This right here is American bourbon. Okay, now here are the rules for bourbon that's going to be sold and consumed in the United States of America. It must be at least 51% corn. After it's distilled, it got to be aged in new charred oak barrels for a certain amount of time. Now notice when I said, this bourbon for the American market, because other countries can make bourbons according to their rules. However, they can't sell it in America. In order for it to be bourbon in America, it has to follow those rules. Some of the more popular bourbon drinks that you might know would be Brown Derby. Oh, that's a delicious one. Hot toddy, bourbon old-fashioned, bourbon whiskey sours. Delicious. And when you walk into a bar in America and you say, hey, give me a shot of whiskey, the bartender, he should ask, because whiskey is such a broad category, he'd give you a bourbon. Whereas in Europe, they give you Scotch. In order to be rye, it must contain 51% rye when it's distilled. Okay? And much like bourbon, it cannot be distilled to more than 80%, usually bottled at around 40%, and it has to spend time after distillation in a new oak charred barrel. The taste of rye, a lot of people find a little bit said bourbon. Popular drinks that contain rye would be a Sazerac, that's a classic. Also a Vauquerie, that's also a classic. I probably pronounced it wrong because I got an accent, but just Google it. This right here is a miscellaneous category. You notice Jack Daniels front and center. Some of you go, wait a minute, isn't Jack Daniels a bourbon? Jack Daniels is not a bourbon. This is a Tennessee whiskey made from a sour mash. Now, in trade deals, more often than not, Jack Daniels is listed under bourbon, but it is not a bourbon, okay? This is uniquely Tennessee. Over here we have Crown Royal, which is Canadian whiskey. And then in the back here, you have a Japanese whiskey. This is actually made from coffee grains, okay? And then you have a white whiskey. These do exist, okay? Because remember now, a lot of these whiskeys, some of them do have coloring added, but they pull their color from the barrels that they're stored in, okay? That's what gives them that brown. Brandy. Brandy is from a Dutch word meaning burnt wine, okay? And it's served in this glass, which is called a sniff. Here's the cool thing about the sniff. If you leave the side and it fits perfectly, okay, that is the perfect serving for your sniff kit. And then you pick it up like this, and the heat in your hands helps to release some of that aroma, okay, as you sip. I don't exactly sip brandy, but it's good. Pretty potent too. So, what is a brandy exactly? A brandy is made by distilling fermented fruit, okay? More often than not, that fermented fruit would be grapes, okay? So that's why it's called burnt wine. Now, let's get into cognac. Cognac is a brandy, but it's from the cognac region of France. So they're the only people in the world who are allowed to call their brandies cognacs, okay? Then over here, we have an Armagnac, which is from the Armagnac region of France. And they're the only people in the world who are allowed to call their brandies Armagnac. By the way, this bottle is nearly $100, okay? Like I said, brandy can be distilled from any fermented fruit. So this right here is an apple brandy. You can have pear brandy, you can have mango brandy, whatever. Never seen a mango brandy, but it is possible. Now, on the markings on the more expensive brandy bottles, you'll notice stuff like VS. What does that VS stand for? It says it means very special. Here on this Christian Brothers bottle, which is one of the cheapest brandies I've ever found, it means very smooth, which makes me ask many questions about this here said brandy. Okay. Then you sometimes see VSOP, and that stands for very superior old ale. And then you see XO, that's extra old, okay? When you see XO, dig in your wallet because it's going to be expensive. Matter of fact, Louis XIII, which is a cognac, very popular cognac amongst the rich and famous, and those who try to show off, I think that starts at about $2 a bottle, just to give you an idea. Some bars would tell it by the short, and a short of that would be, over $100, depending on the bar. Some of the more popular brandy drinks would be Brandy Alexander, Sidecar, Incredible Hulk. That's right, okay? Y'all go with me. Incredible Hulk. Isn't that like Hennessy? Welcome to the world of liqueurs. Like we said, with liqueurs, okay, you take a liquor and then you add in a sweetener, okay? And oftentimes that sweetener is followed with a lot of different flavors and colors. So for instance, now you have strawberry, it's like a strawberry snap, strawberry pucker. Blue curacao, blue coloring is added, and it's orange flavored. Okay, Midori, green coloring is added, it's melon flavored. So there's a lot of fun stuff, sweet stuff in the liqueur category. One thing that confuses people about liqueurs is this, okay? This says creme de cassis. That's creme de blackcurrant or whatever. Creme de banana. So when you hear creme, in French, creme means cream. But these are not creams. They just tend to be a little bit more syrupy, okay, than a lot of other liqueurs. Maybe even a little bit more. But they carry the name creme, and then it tells you the flavor afterwards. De cassis, meaning blackcurrant. De banana, meaning banana. See, I'm not that bad in French. Okay? And on over here, you actually do have the creams, like Bailey's Irish cream. This is actually a cream. Or Godiva chocolate. This is actually a chocolate cream. Super cool. A lot of people don't think of Kahlua as being a liqueur. Okay, there's a ton of sweetness and stuff going on inside here. The base of this is rum actually, and then they come behind with the coffee sweetener and add that in. A lot of people look at liqueurs and go, oh man, I don't drink liqueurs. They're too weak. Really, my friend? Because let me introduce you to 99, okay? 99 is a liqueur, and this is 49.5% alcohol. This is ultra potent. We use this in jungle juices when we're trying to kill people, okay? Another one that really throws people is my friend Campari from the Amaro category. The word Amaro means bitter. So when you think of that, you go, wait a minute, these are bitter styles. These liqueurs are sweet. Campari is a liqueur because it was sweet, and then somehow the way it's produced, it was bitter. I was bitter. I don't know. Okay, it's a new word. Okay, just use it. It was made bitter. But Campari is a liqueur. So guys, now you know what all these bottles are, and you understand the difference between a liquor and a liqueur. And just remember, many great cocktails use a combination of liquors and liqueurs. For instance, a margarita, the liquor is the tequila. The liqueur is triple sec, Cointreau, Grand Marnier. Okay? In an adios, a real party drink. The liquor, vodka, rum, gin, tequila, and then you come behind that with the liqueur. My favorite right here, Blue Curacao, to give you that nice blue with an orange flavor. So they used in combination, and you can have a ton of fun. So liquors are just as important as liqueurs. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.